one of the major things I have a problem with, I think, I don't really have a problem with anything. I just feel as if there's something in my stomach, and if there's something in my stomach, it means there's something that needs to be said. And so the first thing is, we'll talk on a surface level. Let's start with something light, like people standing outside the door when you're recording. Let's move on to maybe something a bit, deeper. We can maybe start to talk about, physical aches, and maybe that being due to improper sleeping positions, or a lack of rest generally. Um, and then we can move a bit deeper to talk about worth, self, and whether or not it is important that we have people reflecting back to us a sense of worth. Is it important for people around us to make us feel worthy? The obvious answer that springs to many minds is that it's not important. It's just the most important thing is self worth, and once you think of yourself as worthy, then it doesn't matter. That's the okay. However, we live around and within society. We live with many people around us a lot of the time. We live online a lot of the time, and that basically means that we are reflected back onto, or we are given a chance to see ourselves. You don't even know who yourself is, but you are very, very in that second faced with a dilemma. Should I do this or should I not? Should I speak or should I not speak? Should I say hello or should I not say hello? Should I get up? Should I stay seated? It's these questions that come to mind when we're faced with people, other things that stare back at us and share a common history, culture, language, synaptic, if that word kind of makes it just kind of like it, we share a dialogue, we share the conversation of life, basically. But the thing about humans is they've kind of formed a gang. I think based on the fact that, oh, you look like me and you look like me, oh, and you have this capability, or your voice can do what I can do, so let's just call ourselves the same thing, and let's just like gather together and say the rest of this world, all the rest, evil, and needs to be tamed, it needs to be managed, it needs to be modernized, it needs to be parented, it needs to be guided, it needs to be enforced upon, it needs to be raped. And so we have an entire kind of relationship between ourselves and our worlds, where it's like we are facing the world. It's no longer symbiotic, and obviously, even to talk about it creates the thing itself. It begins to manifest all around as the reality, um, and so it is important, I think, to maybe consider our power, our daily struggle at power, our daily struggle at the conversation of power, at the root of power. And if I can make myself make sense in some way, I want to bring it to sex. I think it all comes down to sex. It comes down to sex. Damn it, it's sex. And sex is not just sex is also a touching on the cheek. How you look at the person. Do you look directly into the eyes? Are you facing them, giving them periphery? You know what I mean? What are you serving? What are you giving them? What are they giving you? And it's those conversations that happen outside of language that determine so much of how people connect, um, uh, of how people connect, and when and why and how and who and what, and it determines so much these other conversations that we're not even privy to. How am how does my body feel in this situation? How am I feeling in this body right now? How does it feel to be? So, there's so much to discuss, so much to 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 realize about things, and I think that's important. I I yes, I think that's basically what it is. Um, I want to say I'm extremely apologetic to the many people I think who know of me. They don't exactly know what it is to be a me, but I have made the assumption that I have offended them because I have used my words in very quick spitfire kind of ways, and have done so in a way that alienates myself from people, from them, and makes myself at least appear to be indifferent to their struggle or to their cause, to their personalities, to their ideas, but also makes myself seem hostile to their ego. and and we all have this thing called the ego. We all experience personality, which is ego for me. you know to say that I am something is egoic. You know what I mean? To say that this is what I am, it puts something upon the the thing that I am, which is, what is that? You know exactly what I'm saying. So I just, exactly what I'm saying. So you don't. I can feel it, but it's it's more important to, I guess, recognize actually that that it's a game. Not even that it's a game. It's like a active. It's like a active and passive, yes, and active activity, passivity. It's like active passivity. It's like playing a game. And so it goes back and forth. It goes back and forth. And it begins to suggest that it begins to suggest a couple things. It begins to suggest that you think you can do something about this thing that is not who you think it is. Of course, I don't know who you think it is. I just assume that by your indifference and by your, well, I can only really call it fear, right? By your, how do I, by your, it's a something, and I'm not too sure exactly what it is, but it's a something. Um, I walk down the road, street, and I can be afraid. I can cross the road sometimes. But when I walk down the road and I'm walking past you and I look at you and you're not looking at me, I have to assume that you have your own shit to figure out, or to to worry about, or to concern yourself with. I have to assume. I must, for my sanity. I must assume that you have other things on your mind, and that actually I'm just a blip. And even though I may appear to be a very shiny or a very strange, weird blip, that you may remember later in your day, I have to assume that I'm not something that is your problem. And so when I become your problem, I have to assume differently. Because I think when it comes to confrontation and a public space is shared, there's this thing about private and public, and when does it become public and when does it become private? Because when we walk around, we assume that we are private people. We assume that we are walking private lives and that these streets are made for all of us walking our individual lives, including me, including my private life, which must walk in its own private way. And what I mean by that is there is almost like an orb that we give out or that we encourage or that we, yeah, perpetuate, around us. And we kind of see the same kind of orb or aura or something around everyone else, which says, do not cross this line unless I give you express permission to. Do I smile at you? Do I give you like a hint that it's safe to come closer? Do I give you that? So it's those things, I think those things that suggest that we are private, that everything is for us and us alone, each of us. Everything we experience is for each of us. And so within a public space like a road, you know, or within a space like that, and we're not talking about a dream, we're talking about being in a public space and experiencing intimacy. I almost want to do a tally of how many people thought intimacy would mean, fucking in the street, or how many people would think intimacy meant kissing on the lips, how many people thought intimacy meant, a close conversation, ear to mouth, or like a finger on the nose, or just like a glance and a nod. What does intimacy mean? How, to me, it's like experiencing fear and lust. Lust is a seedy word, and I will do my best to clean it, but I definitely mean lust as you are feeling engorged, you're feeling engulfed by a feeling for someone. Not even engulfed. I don't think this is what I mean when I say intimacy. I think I mean you are experiencing tenderness, soft things, things that should be almost kept outside of this masculine road we're standing on, because on this road, on these streets, there's no time or space for softness. There is not. No, no, no. You must be walking. If you are on a road, you must walk. The road is made for walking on. You know. By road, I mean pavement. I mean sidewalk. I mean everything. So it's public, and you can't experience privateness on a road, but yet you are a private body. And so when you meet another private body and allow that private body access to your own space, to your own, vagina, your womb, the womb that is your safe space. I'm just seeing a whole lot of people that I've never seen before, so I'm wondering, is there a function? Is there some sort of... There's only three people, but it's three strange looking... They're not strange, but it's just three people I've never seen before. Anyway, I think you know what I mean. And so, I'm just gonna watch something right now. We have a Middle Eastern-looking middle-aged man with sunglasses who walked by, and we have three black youths, three kids that have dark skin and African, or looking hair. One got his hair tied up, plaited, twisted into halves, something half of his hair, both like two halves. Like I don't know what page boy cut, something with twists. One's got a do rag, and the other one is riding a bike, and he's not. But anyway, I saw the middle-aged man, walk towards them and look at them and observe them, and it's just hard to take in without putting on my own expression. I see these boys, I see youths, I see Rascal, I see Free, I see Joy. See, I just see, and then with a man, I just saw, kind of. So is it me putting something on him, or is it me actually accurately reading the situation? Do I need to be accurate in my reading of the situation, or am I always reading the situation? Whether I'm accurate or not is besides the point. What is true is the experience. It pains me. It pains me to stop.